All right, yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. It's a big day for the audio world. Let me just make sure this is all going good. It should be. Give me 1 second here. I might actually move this over to this side. It's my first stream, so bear with me. It might be a little bit. It might be a little bit weird. You know, might get some dips, might get some, you know. Like I said, I'm kind of just have to go for it, try. We'll see what it ends up being like at the end. So if you can't hear me or can't see, or you know something is really weird with it, just let me know. I'll try to make adjustments on the fly. But like I said, this is my first time doing it, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. But either way, like I said, big day in audio today. Today we are checking out the new speakers from Klipsch. Yeah, these are pretty exciting. Today's new announcement was the actual launch of the speakers. They were all announced back in, I want to say January. Yeah, January of 2022. They were going to release a new reference premier line, and as of today, they are officially on sale. So I'm just going to go through them. We're going to, I'm just going to look at them, see what their offerings are. I did a super quick little preview of them as well, but I actually wanted to wait and see, what they were actually kind of together on stream to go through. I'm going to compare them to each other and as well as the current systems they have. These are called the version 2s. I'll probably refer to them either as version 2s or gen 2s, and then the I guess previous generation now, like the speakers I have or like the ones that they're replacing, I'll refer to as version 1 or gen 1, just so you know. So we're going to go through right here real quick. First, you can see the whole new lineup right here is pretty exciting. So this is everything that they have right here. The little 2 next to it is showing you, it's the version 2. So you can see that they have what are the power ratings on the Atmos speakers and the new speakers. Okay, I will get to that here in a second. So you can see that they have an entirely new set. They're renamed slightly, but not really. The only thing difference is the 2s. So the new speakers themselves, let's take a look here. We'll start actually with these Atmos speakers as well. So you can tell that the design is a little bit different. I think one of the first things that you can notice is this grill has this bevel, which I actually saw in the preview email they sent me, which is pretty interesting, as well as the bolts, the mounting bolts for the woofers on all of their speakers are no longer visible. So you get a lot more of a clean look. So this is the surround speakers, or Atmos modules as they call them. It still comes in that walnut, but notice that they have removed piano black from their options, which is pretty interesting. I think piano black now is limited only to their top end RF line, but we will go ahead and take a look. Let's see. So they're naming them the 500 SAs. It looks like they have a larger woofer. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea how long stream's gonna be. Like I said, this is just me looking at it for the first time as well. I wanted to specifically save my first impressions to be like actual reactions, so that way I could. They're still sticking with a vented tweeter design, which is kind of interesting. So it looks like their tweeter is going to be the same. Do they always have a titanium diaphragm? I believe that they did. It looks like just the overall dispersion is going to be wider. Hopefully that means the off-axis sound will be a little bit better. It says that they have upgraded their cerametallic woofer, still remaining at the 5¼ inch though. Keyhole mount, which is good. Okay, so you do have the option still of choosing Atmos or surround. Okay, well, it looks like these the RP 500 SAs version 2s are 500 watt power right here, at least on the back. Let's input panel. Okay, yeah, so this is interesting. So that they did, it looks like they're using a thicker material as well. I wonder if they're doing magnetics. Seems like they're making a comeback. personally interested in their Atmos speakers, knowing their yeah, no, I agree. Actually, something I want to talk about too is in comparing the new line. It seems like to me, at least initially. Actually, let's see here. I wonder if this will pick up on the stream. Give me one sec. You might not be able to see this spec sheet, considering it's not technically part of what I am showing. Give me one second here. Okay, you can still see it. All right, good. Okay, so like I said, I apologize. This is like my first time streaming, so I'm getting used to it. But here's the RP500SA. Of course, knowing Klipsch, they won't list the sensitivity and frequency response for their Atmos speakers. It just conforms to Atmos specifications. Power handling, though, here we have 75 watts continuous or RMS with a 300 watt peak, 8 ohms as normal. So they do, okay, so they are using a titanium vented hybrid tweeter now with the Tractrix horn, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit larger. Oh wait, this is the version 1s. That's interesting that they don't, oh, that is the version 2s. They didn't change the picture. That's kind of weird. Nice little light and weight here. Interesting. They're actually slightly taller, I believe. Or, you know, slightly deeper as well. So they have, it looks like a little bit more of an angle. I believe the other ones were like 10.75 inches, I want to say. Interesting. Now, I was really interested in these as well, using them as height speakers potentially in the future. But yeah, so those are the Klipsch module, or those are the Klipsch add-on modules and surrounds. What I think is most interesting is actually comparing them back up here to the, well, it's a long page. Okay, comparing them to the, now this is the reference series, obviously, so it's not going to be exactly the same, but this is the new, oh, site's a little slow. This is the new reference series surround speakers, if I can get the site to work. Let's see here, actually. Maybe I can do it this way. Oh. These seem like a really, really good option if you are looking to get into Atmos for the first time and don't want to do the ceiling speakers. It seems like they finally are providing a true speaker. Oh wow, this walnut one's really popular. It seems like they're finally making it into an actual speaker rather than being a weaker underpowered module as an attachment, kind of gimmicky. I think that's part of the reason why those modules from the first generation didn't pick up a bunch, or didn't catch on a lot, because they were very, very underpowered. But these are basically like their bookshelf speakers, just, you know, in a different form. I apologize for the website here. This kind of stinks. I don't know why. It's loading. I wonder if their website's having issues. I'll try to sit here. There we go. Okay, so here we're going to take a look at the surrounds now. These are the RP502S2s. Ooh, a little steep at $8.99 a pair, but I guess that's to be expected with the new line. One thing I want to compare here a little bit with some of their more, with their bookshelf speakers is whether or not it's really worth upgrading to this new series. So far, it seems like for the Atmos attachment modules or height channels, so far it is. But I'm very interested to see, especially when we get around Black Friday time, if the deep discounts that Gen 1 or like the RP600M version ones, for example, they're gonna have to be heavily discounted. But we'll get to that in a minute. So these are the RP502s. They look nice. Same upgrade in grill design. I like that grill upgrade. These are pretty normal. Oh, they kept a black top with the walnut. I kind of like that though, a little more discreet. I like this new walnut color. It seems to be a slightly more like shade of like darker wood than it did before. Is that a keyhole mount on the bottom? That kind of looks like a keyhole mount. That's interesting. Doesn't it looks like a keyhole mount? Anyway, let's see. These aren't going to be bad. So I wonder what the big difference in here. Yeah, so a bigger horn, obviously. That's kind of, I think, what they're going for a lot on this new series is the bigger horn as well. They are, obviously, I think they're switching all to that titanium diaphragm for all of them, which will be nice. And that vented horn design. I'm curious to see the actual difference between these cerametallic woofers. Obviously, I don't have any on hand at the moment, but we'll have to see. I would like to go 7.2.2 one day. I think adding the second subwoofer is going to be much more impactful overall before I add Atmos. I am limited though, is I cannot actually install in-ceiling speakers into my house, so there is a good chance though that I will potentially get the add-on modules and put them up though, like up onto the ceiling, or at the corners where the ceiling meet, and kind of run Atmos that way. So it is definitely a possibility, but it's not quite as important as the upgraded subwoofer to me. But these surround modules, okay, they dropped these frequencies down a little bit, down to 62. I believe the original 502s were 68 on the low end frequency, so a little more bass. It seems like that's going to be a commonality between the new version 2s for both the reference Premiere and the reference line is the increase or decrease rather, in the frequency response. It seems like they're trying to drop the frequency just a little bit. 100 watt, 400 watt, that's pretty standard. Overall, these seem to be about the same. I already have 212s with my 7.2. It sounds weird, but yeah. I used actually a while ago. I am hoping, quick tangent here, side note, as I'm hopefully going to put together a video talking about just like a home theater journey of mine type video, kind of looking back at some old photos of when I started and the journey I took to actually get where I'm at now. I actually did have dual subs at one point, and I got rid of them, and I still regret getting rid of them. So it's something I could definitely want to have back. But if I do that video, you'll see it in that video. Those are the surrounds. All right, I wanted to get this out of the way. The next thing I really wanted to go over was the RP600M bookshelf speakers. These are going to be a very popular choice, I feel, for many people that don't want to go towers. $749 a pair, as expected. Still a little bit expensive though. What I find to be most interesting is going to be the comparisons that come out between things like the RP600M version 2s, these ones right here for $749, and the version 1 600Ms, which can often be found on sale now for like between $5 and $550, if it's worth getting the upgraded specs. They look a little deeper to me. It might just be me, but they do look a little deeper. Oh, okay, you can buy wire these as well. That's quite interesting. I wonder if they're including that in all of it. Work close. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do have a pretty significant mid-bass issue. I still get a lot of tactile bass, but I do have a little bit of a mid-bass issue right around 70 hertz, kind of right at that beginning point in my one seat. The other seat doesn't experience it, but the one does, so I'm assuming putting another subwoofer right up there on the right side of my television should probably knock out that null. These are actually really nice looking, though. I like that they hid. I like the new design of the grill, for sure. I really do like the new design of the grill. I like the new color of the walnut. I also very much like the hidden mounting bolts for the woofers. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the edge-to-edge like baffle here, the horn dispersion. It looks a little bit weird, but it might just be because I'm not used to it. We're going to actually knock down here. Oh, here's a good overview of their new setup. That is a massive center channel, I must say. I think these are all pretty much saying the same thing. Yeah, bigger horn, bigger sound. I kind of want to get that. Yeah, bi-wiring and bi-amping capabilities. It's interesting. I don't think that they had the bi-wiring capabilities on the original 600s, but I will have to check that. I'm not remembering, to be honest with you. I'm not 100%. Let's see if we can go. I wonder if I can get the regular 600M specs up here. We'll pull this one up. Okay, yeah, so they did drop again the frequency response a little bit on the 600Ms down to 44. That's pretty, and that's interesting that they did 94 and Klipsch in their sensitivity ratings, man, it's 94 and a half. I'd be willing to bet on that. 100, 400, pretty standard. Size seems about the same. Oh, they are a little bit deeper at 13 inches. Let's see so these are the original. Yeah, right now, I mean, they're out of stock, but 568. So pretty much you're talking about $200 increase being new. Let's see the spec sheet on the 600Ms. So 45, so they did drop it down a hertz. Actually less sensitive. Quite interesting. They had the 600M version 1s listed at 96 dB, so they dropped the sensitivity down a little. I wonder why. I wonder if that increase in the overall Tractrix horn is giving a wider dispersion at the cost of sensitivity. That's just a complete guess of mine. They're about an inch deeper, and they seem to be a little bit shorter actually. Oh no, they are the same. They're basically the same, except they are a little bit deeper, the new ones. Weight wise, they are also a tiny bit heavier, probably for that increase in the Tractrix horn. These are 600Ms. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that I can get away with it. I can, but getting away with it is kind of, that's a stretch. Does it function? Yes. Do I get a good effect? Yes. But it's not, I cannot put my surrounds in their actual proper position. The main reason being, one, I cannot put them far enough away. Width-wise, they're too close to my ear. So that's why I made that video about placement and how to adjust them. And two, I can't put them any further back because of my doors. So technically, I would probably do better with a 5.1.2 in that room for overall like sphere of sound. But I already had the speakers, so made sense. But I am potentially one thing I'm looking at potentially doing is moving my rear surrounds downstairs into my living room to use with my TV downstairs, and going back to the 5.1 and then adding the Atmos modules to make it that 5.1.2. It is a possibility. I have been considering it, but I'm not exactly sure. So yes, I do get away with it, but it's not like the limitations are definitely noticeable. That's for sure. I'm interested though in these so it really looks like the main difference you're getting here is about 1 hertz, which, I mean, when you're talking about 1 hertz, that's pretty much statistically irrelevant. Yeah, see, the jump from 5.1 to 7.1 is honestly almost just as much about space that you have to work with as it is about the actual like experience you get, because me being so crammed in that room, I still get an experience from them, but it's not the experience that I should be getting, if that makes sense. Yeah, so right now, off the bat, in my opinion, just off initial impressions, I obviously have not heard these in person, so I cannot, speak to your actual sound, but I would say if you are the only ones so far that look like they are actually worth upgrading is going to be the actual Atmos modules. And the reason I say is because right now you're looking at 1.5 decibel less sensitivity and 1 hertz less frequency response. Maybe slightly wider dispersion. If you already have though the RP600Ms, I think I would say not worth the upgrade to the version 2s. Again, in my opinion. I mean, the bi-amp and bi-wiring is nice. That could definitely be a selling point for some people. Oh, but I guess the 600Ms do bi-wiring too. Yeah, I don't know if I could recommend the 600M2s. So, yeah, no, I know. Well, luckily it's pretty much just me and my wife that go in my room. So, we try to be careful about those side surrounds, but you're exactly right. If anything, I'd probably leave those ones in the back and move the ones on the side. It's a little deceiving. There really is just enough walk space. I can walk through with like basically my shoulders, like my one shoulder is like an inch from the speaker and my other shoulder is like an inch from the chair. It doesn't quite look like that. I mean, it's still very tight, but it's like just enough. But yeah, it would be the side surrounds. I agree. That's what I mean. Like those ones that are right near the chair would be the ones that I would remove. But yeah, 600. So 600 Ms. I think if you already own the 600 Ms, I don't see worth the upgrade to this version 2s. If you don't though, it's still a tough sell. See, I feel like, yeah, potentially 4 modules would be a possibility. Interesting. So let's actually, I want to take a look, kind of do a triple comparison here. I want to take a look between the, here we go, the 50C. Oh wait, no, never mind. 50Ms. That's what I wanted. We're going to kind of compare the top reference and the new ones. Okay, so this is the new reference series bookshelf speakers. $3.99 a pair. I do not like the look of these, which I know is not necessarily the most important part of a speaker, but these look cheap, in my opinion. They just look cheap. I don't like the lack of sunken in binding posts down here. They just stick out. Not a big fan of that at all. Interesting. I am not really a fan of these, but you know what? We're going to go to the specs. Specs are what really matters. I just don't like this design with this huge... I wonder, though, if that is going to close the gap a little. See, Klipsch is in an interesting spot, I think, in my opinion, between their reference and their reference Premier line. And I think that this new release has emphasized that point even more. It's basically, if you... It's getting harder and harder to recommend their reference line simply because... their reference line is not much cheaper than the on-sale reference Premier line, but you're getting with the reference Premier line such a significant upgrade in performance that if you want, like if you have the money to spend, you don't need a lot more to get the reference Premier. You know, a full 5.1 system of Klipsch reference speakers, you know, is probably about 80% of the cost of the reference Premier, but the reference Premier are significantly more, because if you really are not looking to spend a lot of money, this is probably a video I'll make eventually sometime in the future, but you actually might be better off purchasing like the Yamo Concept 9 series, which is also a sub-stereo of Klipsch, and save a ton of money. Like this one, for example, 58 hertz, 21,000 kilohertz. Frequency response range is nearly the same. Sensitivity, again, Klipsch, all their speakers are really sensitive, which is good, but I mean, you know, anything over like 85, 88, you know, you're going to be fine. Power handling is roughly the same as the other ones. Really all you're getting is the ability of a new design, a slightly increased Tractrix horn for $399. They're almost double the cost of the R51Ms, which we will bring up right here. R51M specs. And then theater rooms rather 7.2 with the Akio. Yeah, I do need to upgrade my receiver as well. So I've been looking at both of those brands. Yeah, here, perfect example. Well, first of all, I think this is a little bit, you know, not truly accurate, because it's very off. It's very rare that you ever pay full price for a Klipsch speaker. So $359 for the R51Ms are not worth it. I would not spend $350, $359 for the pair of these speakers. I wouldn't do it. You can pretty much, I would say 9 months out of the year, find these for $259. Or I've even seen them as low as $199 on occasion for Black Friday. Whoops. So, okay. So we're going to compare the reference series bookshelves to all right, so see, we're talking 4 hertz less, basically the same sensitivity. Actually, the older ones are arguably or listed as slightly more sensitive. These basically have less power the new ones are less power, less sensitive, and they get slightly lower in frequency response. But I would be willing to bet that probably 80% of the people that are purchasing speakers like this are most likely pairing them with a subwoofer. I would be shocked to find if someone who's purchasing, say, like the R51M or the R50M speakers are running them 2-channel. If they're not bad, but I think there are much better options out there for the price, for between $300 and $400. Like, these are $400. If you were planning on just running these 2-channel, there are better options for $400. So see, same thing. I mean, if you have the R51Ms, I just don't see the value in upgrading to the R50Ms. The only thing I could think is it really would have to depend on how well that extra dispersion helps off-axis sound, and how the extra dispersion, but the Onkyo will sound bright. That's not the first time I've heard that. I am a little concerned about running an Onkyo receiver with Klipsch speakers, being that Onkyo has kind of a bright sound to it, as well as Klipsch being a bright sounding speaker. I feel the combination of those two is going to make it sound very bright. I feel getting something like a Denon or a Marantz. Marantz's are a little bright too, but they're kind of warm. Something that can tone down the brightness of Klipsch would help. And that is something that I read about the potential for these new reference speakers, is these new reference speakers are toning down the brightness a little bit to sound more on par with the version 1 reference Premiere. So something like, for example, let's look over here. I know they're not technically comparable, but these are the 600Ms version 2s. So basically the difference between the reference 50s and the RP600s version 2s, so the top of their reference line, top of their reference Premiere line, is about 2 dBs, 14 hertz, and 25 watts. Now that in itself makes enough of a difference, but I think what's most interesting to me is comparing something like the R51Ms, or the R50Ms to the RP600M. Now this is where I think this will get as an interesting comparison, because this is where I feel like people need to start really. This is where this Klipsch kind of, I feel like they're competing with themselves. I really feel like they're competing with themselves. A second here. And I'll tell you why. Version 1, Klipsch RP, voted Speaker of the Year in 2018. Fantastic speaker. Just because the version 2s come out doesn't mean that these are obsolete. If anything, these are even more worth to buy, and I'll explain why right here. If you're coming from something like the regular reference line, or are looking to purchase the new reference line, I think the new reference line is basically a worthless, at least at initial impression, line. The reference Premiere is nice if you don't already have the reference Premiere. I think upgrading from reference to reference, or reference Premiere version 1 to reference Premiere version 2, is not going to be worthwhile, the upgrade. But if you're coming from, say, regular reference, like I am, going to the original reference is probably still going to be the better upgrade. And I'll explain again, because we're going to go down to the spec sheet right here. Let's see. Okay, so this is the version 1, the one that everyone has known about now for a while, the RP600Ms, and this is the new reference R50s. So look at the specs here. The older ones of the reference Premiere are, first of all, better sounding. They're not quite as bright. Lower frequency, higher sensitivity, more power. These are don't get down as low. They have less power, and they are overall less sensitive. And you can purchase these R50s right now on Klipsch's website for, let's see here, products. What did I say here? Yeah, the R50M bookshelf speakers. I'm gonna take a look at the subs next too. Yeah, so these are $399 a pair. You could find on sale the Klipsch RP 600Ms for right around $500. So for $100 more, you're getting a much better speaker from the reference line. I feel like these are becoming into a market that's basically pointless. And again, I'll go back to what I said about Klipsch kind of shooting themselves in the foot, I think, because their reference Premier line will always be the best choice if you can afford them. They're expensive, but if you're planning on spending that much money, you're going to be getting the reference Premier. If you don't want to spend that much money, you might as well almost go either with another brand or go all the way down through their Atmos series, which is still made by Klipsch. So they're going to have a similar sound signature. It's not identical, but a similar sound signature, and are significantly less. You can even get a pair of the, let's see, Yamaha Concept 9s, or Concert 9s. Let's see here. Look at these, for example. These run $350 each. These are their top-of-the-line Yamaha floor standing speakers. Let's take a look at some of these specs. 32 hertz, 6 ohms, 89 sensitivity. These speakers are going to blow the reference series Klipsch speakers out of the water. Not necessarily in sound signature, but in just pure specs, significantly better. So why would you spend? You could spend $700 and get these, or you can spend, basically $700 and get the smaller 620F towers. But why would you do that? Doesn't even. I mean, I just think they're shooting themselves in their foot with their reference line. Is the point I'm trying to make. Let's go over to subwoofers actually. So, okay, well, let me recover. First of all, Dolby Atmos modules, definitely worth the upgrade. The Dolby Atmos from the new reference Premier line, fantastic upgrade. So far, in my opinion, if you already own the Klipsch reference Premier version 1s, I do not see the reference Premier version 2s for their bookshelf speakers being worth the upgrade. I don't think they're worth the $750. You're getting 4 hertz less, which is virtually nothing, especially if you're pairing with a subwoofer. It's irrelevant. The increase in sound dispersion, being able to listen off axis with a little bit more accuracy, could be nice, but I don't know if it's worth the just spending another, spending the $750 to get that upgrade. The reference line right now, I do not see their new reference line being worth it at all, because if you're coming from the current Klipsch reference line, you have a better. It is more worth your money to buy Gen 1 or version 1 Klipsch reference Premier, like the RP600Ms, as an upgrade from the current R51Ms than it would be to go from the current R51Ms to the new reference, like 50Ms. The upgrade there is just not even worth it, and for almost the same price, just a little more, you can step into the reference Premier. I mean, obviously, going to the version 2 reference Premier would be your best bet, but for just straight up money to performance-wise, the version 1s are going to be, I think, still the worthwhile upgrade if you're coming from the regular reference. All right, but we're going to take a look over here, step aside, and take a look at, next, their top-of-the-line towers. Well, I'm going to skip the Atmos modules. I still think you're better off most of the time buying the towers and then the Atmos modules separate. So we're going to take a look at their 8000F version 2s. Now these are some beautiful looking speakers. $899 each though. Again, I have, my opinions on these. Very nice. I like the walnut color as well. Same information, that's why I'm skipping over it. Same vented horn. Now these are interesting too. They have dual input terminals for bi wiring, as well as they have an individual speaker if you want to add, I believe if you want to add, is this for adding height? Yes. So they actually have this ability built into these speakers now, which is very nice, is that you can add the modules and you can actually plug them in on top. I did read this online as well. Very interesting. So you can actually plug in, you can buy wire for just the speakers themselves. And then they have right here additional wires where you can plug them in and they run through the speaker and come out the top if you want to add the additional modules. I think that is genius. I'm really glad that they did that. Super, super nice upgrade. All right, but we're going to take a look. So these are beasts of speakers. 35 hertz, which is nice. 98 decibels. 150, 600 watt peak. Actually not as heavy as I thought they'd be. Standard size. They do have that Dolby Atmos pass-through, which is nice. Let's see here. Anything different? The grill's different. It looks like they have a slightly... maybe it's just me, but it looks like they actually have them angled slightly more than they used to. Slightly more up. That could be just... You know... I don't know if that's actual fact, but it seems like it possibly could be. Interesting. The obviously upgraded grill. Magnetic grill, which is nice. I do believe they're all getting really nice magnetic grills, including the subwoofers from even the reference line, which is nice. But anyway, so these are the Klipsch RP8000F. So these are $849 each. Natural fashion, I'm going to have to bring up the 8000F specs. Oops. There you go. Let's see. There they are. Yeah, so doesn't it look a little more angled or less angled on these? These you can actually still get in piano bag. Yeah, perfect example. These, again, out of stock, but that's really only from Klipsch. I mean, you can order them, you know, from other websites for, I mean, think about it. Klipsch. I think I spelled that wrong. Yeah, I did. For example, I mean, you can order them right now for $549 from Crutchfield. $549 each. So, I mean, you're talking, you could get two 8000F speakers for, you know, oh, I was looking at this stuff. Let's see. It's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back to the Klipsch. Oh, not even typing. Let's just look here, for example. Okay, so we're going to add two of these to the cart and just look at the price. We're going to add two. Okay, so for $1,089, you can get your left and right front 8000F speakers, which, let's go to the specs. Compare the spec sheet between the version 1s and the version 2s. So version 1's 32. So actually, these do not dig quite as deep. Sensitivity is the same. The new ones have the same power. New one's slightly heavier. Okay, they don't. So the new ones, basically what you're getting from the new ones, again, is the upgraded Tractrix horn for a larger dispersion rating, and you're getting the Dolby Atmos pass-through with potentially, you know, an improved overall sound reproduction. Obviously yet to be seen by me. I can't speak on their actual sound reproduction, but arguably I think it would be fair to say that the overall accuracy of the sound is probably improved slightly. But you're not getting any higher frequency, any better sensitivity, or any better power handling. And you're talking $850 for one. So $1,700 for the pair, or $1,100 for the pair of the previous generation. So $600 more. You get the Dolby Atmos pass through, better dispersion. I just don't see as that worth it. I don't see as that worth it. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I'm gonna throw up a poll right now in the chat. Just let me know what you guys think. Do you think the new RP towers are worth it over the version 1 towers? Let me know what you guys think. You know, to be honest, I am not particularly sold on the new line. See, again, I think it's one of those situations where it's kind of hard to say, but to be honest, I think it's kind of one of those things that what I was trying to say was that, again, I'm going to have to go back, same with the towers. If you are currently rocking no speakers or cheap speakers, and you can afford it, obviously go for the reference Premiere version 2s, the newest series, if you can afford it, if the money is not an object. If you are running on a budget but would like to get the best bang for the buck, and you have no speakers or cheap speakers, I think the best bang for the buck is going to be version 1 speakers of the RP line, especially when they hit on sale here coming up Black Friday or any of their summer sales. You're going to be able to find them cheap. If something like, for example, the RP 600M version 1s that you can often find on sale right now for between $5 and $5.50, if those drop into the 400s, I mean, you are talking about a pair of Klipsch RP 600Ms, $499, even maybe $459. That would be absolutely incredible. That would be way more worthwhile than the sub 49 for the new speakers. Again, in my opinion. Now, that's not based upon my actual ear hearing it. That's based upon specs. Now, if you are coming currently from the current reference line, the 620Fs, the 820Fs, the R51Ms, the 41Ms, or any of those, the R34C, I don't see the new reference line being worth an upgrade at all. The new reference Premier line, I don't know if the cost is worth the jump. While you will get significant upgrade in overall sound quality, again, I think that you'd get a better return on your money buying the previous generation's reference Premier line. Now, the last one I want to say is that if you don't have any Klipsch speakers at all and are looking to get into Klipsch speakers, have a little bit of money to spend but don't want to go for the full-blown reference, the new reference line might be worth it because you are most likely getting a upgrade to the current reference line but still saving money on the speakers. So it's kind of hit or miss, but basically the long short of it is, if you currently own any Klipsch speakers, I don't see upgrading to the newest versions necessarily worthwhile unless you're going from regular reference to reference Premier Gen 1. I don't really see the upgrades. I don't see going from RP current gen to RP Gen 2. I don't see going from reference Gen 1 to reference Gen 2. But I really don't see taking the full jump from reference to reference Gen 2 because that crazy price, $749 for the 600M version 2s, I don't see it worth it over the version 1 600Ms, at least initially, again, in my opinion. Actually, we're going to go through now, though, and look real quick at center channels and subs before I end out this. I'm trying to keep us at like an hour, so I know I've been kind of talking a lot. Like I said, this is just initial impressions. Actually, we will peak super fast. This is going to be really quick at the $599 each. Again, you could find, I have seen the 800Fs as low as $349, $399 for sure. Let's see there. Now, this pass-through is nice, though. I have to say that Dolby Atmos pass-through is nice. That's something you usually find in previous speakers. This is nice for sure. These might not be terrible compared to the normal 820S, but again, for the price, it's kind of hard to say because if you're going to spend $599 a speaker, that's kind of where I'm at too. If you're right now looking at these reference Premier lines and you want to spend $599 a speaker, you can literally get the reference Premier 8000Fs for cheaper than this per speaker and get the reference Premier. So that's a perfect example of why I just don't think the new reference is going to be worth it really for anybody, especially first-time buyers. Okay, I'm interested in the new RP504C center channel specifically because the price is not bad. $799 each, not terrible. I'm hoping that this has a little bit of a better dispersion with this new cone. It looks like they actually have, cork pads replace rubber bumpers for security on a table stand. Yeah, okay. So this looks like it might be a decent upgrade, to be honest. This gets down to 50 hertz. A little more power, a little less sensitivity. This might be a nice upgrade over there. Let's look at their current gen 504C specs. But again, I mean, the price, like I said, the price sometimes, because I mean, $499 right now you can find it for. So, you're talking, I mean, basically $300. It's going to be hard to recommend sale. But then again, you also are kind of comparing apples to oranges a little bit by saying the sale Klipsch prices versus the non-sale freshly released prices. But I mean, that's what we have to go off of. Everyone knows though, you almost never pay full price for Klipsch speakers, almost never. If we can get this one to load, let's see, maybe we can get the piano back. Might just have to go to Crutchfield. That's fine. It's just to compare the specs real quick. So yeah, again, we're talking $499 versus $799. 58, so 8 hertz difference, a little bit. Basically, you're getting a little lower frequency for the extra money. And again, the upgraded Tractrix horn, I keep saying that all the time. That sound is going to be interesting. You'll have to check out some. I mean, I'm not going to be able to review all these Klipsch Reference Premier speakers, but I like how they moved the logo over here too, which is kind of nice. You'll have to, Youthman or Spare Change potentially, Chana D, Techno Dad, any of those guys that are going to review most likely these speakers at some point. Definitely get their opinions on if the upgrade in sound is worth the extra cost. And then we're going to go over real quick to the one that I wanted to compare before we hit the subwoofer is the center channel, the R30C. So this is replacing the R34C, which is the one I have. Now this one's interesting to me because it's the same price. So the R34C is still $499. The R30C, or the upgraded one, is also $499. So this is a good comparison to show that I think, yes, if you are planning specifically to buy the R34C, you obviously would make sense to get the R30C because it is just a better, newest speaker. Slightly larger dispersion. You have same size woofers, quad 3.5-inch woofers. You have the same power handling, I believe. The frequency response drops down. So the frequency response in the R34C is 82 hertz. I wonder if they also dropped it down to 78 hertz to act like it digs a little bit deeper, so that people can set their crossovers at 90 hertz rather than 100. Because like mine, I have to set at least 100 because I don't feel comfortable setting it at 90 because it's only 8 hertz above the minimum, and I like to set it at least 10. So if they set it at 78, you can get away. They dropped it 4 so that you can get away with setting it at 90, so you get a little extra of that mid bass coming out of the R34C. That is interesting. That's interesting. This seems like a decent price, but kind of again, it's hard because for that price, I mean, you could, if you really are looking to get into that reference premiere, I mean, you could even for $400, I mean, you could step into something like the let's see here. You could step into the 404C for $50 more, and I mean, you're getting much deeper extension. You're getting the RP sound. You're getting more power, better sensitivity. I mean, this reference line is getting. I can't see this reference line really being worth it. Like I said, I mean, you are better off purchasing the last gen reference Premiere. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna go into the 121 SW. So this is their new subwoofer, $599, same price as their other one. Let's see if they really add anything. The back panel looks the same. Low pass filter, you can set it to LFE gain, not bad. They have the auto on off, phase 0 to 100 selecting switch, as well as the line in for RCA with an LFE setting. Okay, so let's go to the specs on this. Klipsch has never been known for the subwoofers, but I think if they were able to step up the game a little bit, they might make it more worthwhile. Yeah, see, this, for example, significantly better. I'm still not saying that it is. See, it's kind of tough. So, this is a good comparison to this, I feel like, would be something like the SVS PB1000 or the SB1000. For $599, you're getting under 30 hertz and 200 to 400 watts. But you can get, I'm trying to think of another good subwoofer around that price range. I know Monolith has their 10-inch THX sub that falls right around, the $500 to $600 range with better specs. But this one is a definite step up for the Klipsch subwoofers. I want to say the old R 120 SW was the old subwoofers from Klipsch were a joke. They really were a joke. They were an absolute joke. No power. Is that that almost sounds weird to me because I don't feel like it, I'd almost argue this spec. I do find though that there's a huge difference. I think of any range is a big difference. Like 30 to 20 hertz is like the make or break range for a subwoofer, I think, because if you're pairing them with speakers, especially any towers, like even the R620F towers that I have now can get down to like in the 30s for hertz. So if your subwoofer is not is at or above 30 hertz, it's pretty much pointless. The closer you get to that 20, that kind of magic 20 though, is where you really start to feel that bass. So even a couple down, this is nice. I could see this for $599. I guess the question though is that would this purchase make sense for somebody who's purchasing the reference Premier line? Most likely not, because, well, that's kind of tough to say. I think that if you're going to go with a full reference lineup, which again, I think you're better off just purchasing Gen 1 reference Premier. If you're looking to purchase these products, you're better off Gen 1 reference Premier. But for the sake of the argument, let's say you're purchasing the subwoofer to pair, where am I looking at here? Let's pair this up with, reasonably, I feel like someone could buy this subwoofer with a pair of speakers. We'll say even the 500. We haven't really looked at those yet, but we'll say the 500s. $599 a pair, reasonable. Get down to the specs. Yeah, I don't see the value. I mean, I'm not talking about like bass response, because obviously adding that subwoofer is going to get you a lot more low end. That's not what I'm arguing at all. I'm just saying that if you were somebody purchasing something like these RP500s as your main listening speakers, most likely you're listening to music. Second of all, if you are going home theater, it's hard to say if you're getting into the reference Premier line that reference sub at $600 is worth the cost. Let's see what the 10-inch one is. I feel like the subwoofer, it's intriguing enough that it's almost kind of weird to say yes or no to, because that price is a nice price. You can't even get your foot in the door, I don't think, with an SVS sub. Let's look. I don't even think you can get your foot on the door. Okay, here's a comparison from SVS. I know there's a lot of other sub brands out there, just saying this one. Same price. Yeah, see, it's kind of hard to say, because like here's their, now this is not ported, but even without being ported, lower hertz, more power. I mean, first of all, the look of the sub is beautiful. We'll check out the 101. It's also really nice looking. I really like what they did with the front. Looks real clean. What's this one going for? Okay, so $499. So realistically, though, if you were going budget line with bookshelf speakers, you probably would be more in the 10-inch sub range. I'm saying if you're running reference bookshelf speakers as your fronts. See, I don't like this. I don't know where they're getting these half numbers from now. They're kind of really stretching it there, but yeah, okay. I could definitely see the $100 to get the, extra hertz, I guess, but to get that extra 50-watt power, continuous, and 200 or 100-watt power peak, I think is worth it. So I see the 112 SW. So I'm going to make actually a post here as we kind of wrap this up real quick. So if I am quiet for a moment, it's simply due to me typing something. So I'm going to type up a little post here. So subs. I would say the R101 SW not worth no-go. I'm going to say the R121 SW worth it for reference towers, not reference towers, and then RP bookshelf. I think that's about where I'm at. If you were planning on racking the Reference Premier bookshelf speakers as your mains, I think that subwoofer would be a nice addition. Let's build out a little cart here. And we'll wrap this up just a couple minutes here. So let's build out a little cart. So let's say you want to build yourself a nice little system. I would say you were overall, if you were going to build a 5.1 system right now with money, I would say these are my recommendations. If money is no object, obviously go for the newest system. If you want best bang for the buck, I would say go version 1 Reference Premier. If you want, though, to go Reference Premier version 2, best bang for the buck. So a combination of both. Basically, you really want to get the new series, which is cool. I get it. But you still want decent value. I think your best value is going to be most likely going for a bookshelf system, the 600Ms, 2 pairs of the 600Ms. I'm going to add these to the cart. Probably go with the... You could probably get away with a 404C. Let's see. Yeah, for $599, I would go 404C personally. Again, this is bang for the buck, new RP series. I don't think the reference series is worth it. Again, I know I'll be repeating myself, but I don't think the new reference series is worth it because for the money, you basically are paying Gen 1 Reference Premier prices for Gen 2 reference quality. You might as well just buy the Gen 1 Reference Premier. But for second gen, that's probably worth it. And then if you go for the... Now, I know you could do the surrounds, but I think overall you're looking probably something like this. We're going to go 2. We're going to update to 2. Yeah, I think this is probably your best bang for the buck Reference Premier Gen 2 system that you can get right now. Would be the RP600M version 2s, 2 pairs of those for your left and right, and then your 2 side surrounds, your 404C center channel for $599, and the 121 SW for $599. Brings you in right under $2,000, which I think is going to be your best bet. Yeah, I think it's going to be your best bet. Oh, right, actually, that can't be right. Hold on a second here. There we go. Okay, still, I was going to say, still, that's your bet. I would say it should be like $2,500. I still think this is going to be your best bet for a 5.1 system of the new Reference Premier line. Specifically because I don't think the update to towers is worth it in terms of bang for buck if you don't need them. I think the towers themselves are worth the money, but again, if the money's not an object, get the towers. If you're trying to do the best bang for buck on the Gen 2, skip the reference completely, go for the Reference Premier. But if you really want Reference Premier and you don't care if it's Gen 1 or Gen 2, I still think the Gen 1 is going to be the better purchase, especially coming from the regular reference, because you can get, the bookshelf speakers for, you can get 2 pairs of the regular RP600Ms for $1,000 basically. Actually, we're going to clear this card out. And so look at that. We're going to say 27. We're going to round that up to 27. And we're going to do the same thing with the reference. And I'll show you why I don't feel that it's worth it. We're going to leave the same sub. And we're going to go with the R30 center channel. Going to be the more powerful of the center channels. We're going to add that to the cart, and we're going to add the R50 bookshelf speakers, 2 pairs. Now here's why I'm showing you that I don't think it's worth it. Because you're going to need 2 pairs of these. You're talking for 19, so 27 versus 19. Now, obviously this is way cheaper, but if you can get those RP ones, get those RP ones that I just showed you in the cart. If you are looking to stick 2,000 or less for a 5.1 system, you have this option, or I will show you an additional option right here on Crutchfield that, again, I think is going to be more worth your system. We're going to go add to cart. And let's, oh, that's how I didn't want to I wanted to find the, look at it like this. You could get last gen, bigger center channel, 2 of their RP speakers for that much money, and if you can add a sub, or if you already have a sub, you'll be, close to the $2,000 mark. Or if you wanted to save even more money, what I'd recommend doing would be, if you can squeeze it, going down to the 500Ms for the reference Premiere, which are still going to be better. We'll compare them real quick right now. RP 500M specs. Now, granted, if you have like a massive room, for example, I can't find that subwoofer anywhere. Are you talking about the R21SW? It's only right now available for sale through Klipsch's website. Look at this, $349 a pair for the RP 500Ms. Let's add these to the cart. The whole point I'm trying to do is just to show that you pretty much are better off not buying the new reference series. You're worth buying the old reference series. Look at that. 2 pairs of the 500Ms, the 504C. You could even step down to the 404C, and you could add a, let's see, add a very, very nice SVS PV1000 Pro, for example. Look at this. Right at $2,000, and this overall is going to be a much better system than this one right here. Much better. Going to be louder. It's going to be more accurate, not as bright, better dispersion. Overall, just a much, much better system. So I'm going to repeat myself one last time because I know everyone loves to hear somebody repeat themselves, but my final recommendations are, if you are looking to step into home audio for the first time, if you're looking to get speakers for the first time, and I'm speaking more for a home theater type, so basically a 5.1 or more setup. I was wondering if there's any new RF towers coming out soon. I'm in the process of building a 13.0. Oh, a 13. Okay. I wonder, to my knowledge, they are not releasing a new RF this year. I cannot confirm 100%, but it was not mentioned at all in their showcase. It was not mentioned at all in their first note email. I don't think they're coming out with one this year, but I cannot confirm that 100% for sure. If they do, most likely I think it will be similar to the current situation with the reference Premiere, where the upgrade in towers is going to be kind of marginal. It's really a lot of it's gonna come down to sales. They'll obviously be an amazing speaker. I've heard the RF3s or RF-7 amazing. Obviously, if you can afford those, by all means get those. The new ones, though, when they do come out, I'm sure they will at some point, but whenever they do come out, I think it's going to come down to sales. If you can get the original ones, or if you already have the original ones and they drop down a lot in price, might be hard to recommend the new ones. But if they're anywhere near close, obviously getting the second gens. But no, I don't know for sure if they're coming out. Like I said, they haven't been mentioned to me yet, so we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much like I was saying, basically, if you don't have any speakers right now, or looking to get into it for the first time, and money's no option to you, I mean, obviously go for the Gen 2 reference Premier. If you're trying to stick on a little bit more of a budget, I think your best bang for buck is still going to be Gen 1 reference Premier, even over the new reference. You're basically paying the same price as the new reference series, but getting the reference Premier quality. And if you currently own the reference series, upgrading to the new reference is going to do you nothing. You got to go for the new reference Premier or the original reference. And if you currently have the reference Premier from Klipsch, that's a tough call. I don't see, if you currently right now, for example, are rocking like the RP8000F towers, I don't really think spending the $849 each, spending $1,700 to upgrade to the 820F version 2s is going to be worth it for the increased dispersion on the Tractrix horn, the Dolby Atmos pass through. I just don't see that being worth it, and most people are not buying the 8000Fs with that kind of money, and running it just 2-channel. Most people. Much I figured I'd have the R40 center now. I'm doing videos. Oh, nice. Yeah. I don't. Obviously, I don't own them. I have heard them before. They're amazing speakers. I mean, that's awesome that you have them. I mean, you know this, I'm sure. But once you get into that level of audio, obviously, just straight up money wise, I don't want to, step over a line or anything here, but if you're spending that kind of money on audio, a couple $100 probably doesn't matter to you that much. So if the new ones come out, they might be worth the upgrade. Yeah, exactly. It's really funny you say that, because I was actually going to say that next, was that do keep in mind that stuff like the the R160Ms, just like you said, every day, they go on sale for $250 a pair, which are basically, yeah, exactly, the RP 0.5s. You said it perfectly. Or even the towers, like the 280F towers, you can get those right now for under $500. They're like $400 for a tower. So for like $800, $800 to $900, you can get still amazing speakers that are basically the 8000F. They're 90% of the 8000F, and you're paying $800 for a pair, when the new 8000F version 2s are $850 for one. That's a hard pill to swallow. If you have the money, you can afford it, great. If not, though, I mean, I can't see a lot of the stuff worth it. The one that stuck out to me, though, that really just stuck out to me, that me and Nate Dogg saw in the beginning, was the Dolby Atmos speakers, which I'll go back to again here in a second. These were a very nice upgrade. A little expensive, but it seems like Klipsch finally decided to make a Atmos module, or height add-on speaker module, basically a bookshelf speaker. This is a full-blown speaker now. It has a full-size 5.25-inch woofer. They're regular tweeter. It's not that little 4-inch one anymore for the woofer. And spec-wise, obviously they're Klipsch. I hate when they do this, but they don't give you that frequency response sensitivity. But actual power handling, it's giving you an actual speaker. I believe this says 500 SA. I don't know why they don't have the spec sheet for the version 2s. For some reason, they still only have the spec sheet for the version 1s. Maybe they, are the same in terms of that, but overall, looks like these are finally going to provide to you a worthwhile experience if you want to go with the modules. But that's it. If anyone has any questions, please leave them down in the comments. The video is going to be posted up right as it ends as a regular video. So please, if anyone has any questions about the new speakers, I'll try my best to answer them. I am going to demo them, just not in my house. I'm going to go where I know that they have them and do some demos and sound, so I give you potentially an updated video on whether or not the sound is actually making a difference. But if you have any questions about anything you saw today, any questions about your own home theater, if you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, let me know. Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully the stream ended up being okay. And I will talk to you guys later. See ya.